A second Elon has hit the Twitter. A second Elon has hit the Twitter HQ building. Not exactly the highlight of the evening, but somebody's projecting some unkind words on Twitter HQ. Can't believe Tumblr's going to last longer than Twitter. Well, we'll see how things go. Yeah, no sense putting back the interesting news. So, as of 3 hours ago, uh, Twitter alerted its employees that all the office buildings are closed and no one gets in, which is kind of wacky, you know. See, right now the only information that we're really getting is kind of like hearsay from employees who are trying not to get fired, so they're like disseminating this information semi-anonymously. The basic deal is like to set the stage for those who don't know, Elon Musk, the world's stupidest man, enters a Twitter HQ, and because he owns Twitter rather than just being, the appointed CEO, he gets to do whatever he wants. So what he does is he puts his hands in his hips and he thinks, well, why hasn't anyone ever implemented the blockchain in order to algorithmically utilize? He basically went in there and started saying, ameliorate, 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 just like I would do. Except I'm not the owner of Twitter, so when I do it, it's fine. But when he does it, he causes problems. Basically, he's discombobulate. He's suggested a bunch of stupid ideas, and what this did was it led a bunch of people who work at Twitter to publicly criticize Elon Musk, or at the very least disagree with him internally. He's been mass firing people. Just the other day, he said that he only wants the most hardcore engineers staying along at Twitter. And apparently a bunch of engineers are just not showing back up. They just do not care because Elon Musk is not a great boss. I mean, pulled from the Washington Post article, quote, I know of 6 critical systems, like, quote, serving tweets, end quote, levels of critical, which no longer have any engineers. There's no longer even a skeleton crew manning the system. It'll continue to coast along until it runs into something and then it'll stop. See, much like Donald Trump, a man with whom he shares a lot in common, Elon Musk really likes firing people. Not great at other things, though. So, yeah, the Twitter engineering team is completely gutted. He fired a ton of people, sheepishly brought them back in, fired more people for criticizing him. Apparently, like, Elon is at this point desperately trying to get, like, engineers to stay because he realizes, like, oh, wait, you actually need... It turns out that massive social media companies actually need, like, a lot of people working on them. It turns out it's actually really complicated. It's actually, guys, it's pretty complicated, actually. It's actually pretty complicated. It's actually pretty complicated, yeah. And people just aren't staying, you know? It's funny because if you've been on Twitter, I don't want to run through this, like, all of them, you know, but every time there's, like, a public firing of a Twitter employee, the comments underneath that employee are like 50-50 mix of, like, dudes with sunglasses in their car, libertarians, who are like, you fucking lib cuck, yeah, get fired, I hope you never work again, Elon Musk, let's go. And the other half are like guys who work in tech offering to hire them. I'm serious. Listen, if you're an employment manager for any kind of tech company, Twitter is the place to be, because every time a Twitter engineer, somebody who no doubt has, like, a pretty impressive resume working at Twitter, gets fired, you can try and scoop them up real quick and offer them an exorbitant salary, which seems to be what these guys, get paid. Yeah, no, Twitter had a lot of talent, and as I understand it, a relatively small crew, yeah, Vaush, it's coming. Yeah, this is the down detector, I don't know how reliable this is because this is like a self-report system, so anyone can say they have a problem at Twitter, and it's possible that people are going to amp this up because they like, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to amp it up because it's like, oh yeah, Twitter's dying, so let's hit the button that shows that Twitter's dying. I don't think that the actual, like, server outages are happening yet, but there are people who worked at Twitter who are saying that it might not even last through the weekend, which is pretty wild, I've said a lot about Elon Musk, how he's arrogant and stupid, and how he's managed to coast by with the reputation of like a big boy brain genius. You know, sort of by way of like snake oil salesman. You know, very it's remarkable because he's CEO of Tesla, but he actually gives Thomas Edison a run for his money. Actually, Thomas Edison was a very intelligent guy. You know, he was a huge piece of shit, but Elon Musk genuinely outdoes him in almost every respect. In terms of unethical behavior, in terms of like the scope and scale of his sort of grifting, it's pretty remarkable. So yeah, we're having fun there. Twitter's entire Android team is gone. Yeah, their whole Android team. That is incredible. That is some remarkable stuff. Where did I see that? Yeah. Here we go. The whole team. I don't think Twitter will last the weekend. Twitter is restricting employee access to all of its buildings with no reason given. Is it true that the reason access is being restricted is because Elon Musk is terrified of the engineers, like sabotaging the company? Like he came in here, ruined things, and then he's like, wait, the real threat. Apparently, yes. That is incredible. Well, if all of that is genuinely the case, then yeah, I do think that Twitter is done. It's actually really complicated running a social media program, you know? If you just run in there and fire everyone, then that can actually, that can actually do it. Now, I want to be clear with a couple of things. A couple of things. First of all, I made a Substack. You want to get added to an email? If the 78 mechanisms by which I can already keep track of you and you can keep track of me aren't enough, I made a Substack, okay? It's pinned in my Twitter thing. Yeah. Yeah, I did. Like everyone else. Yeah. There really isn't a replacement for Twitter, is there? You know? There's no equivalent. There's no social media app that really does what Twitter does. Not even close. No, not Mastodon. Mastodon is cool, but people are acting as though Mastodon is a replacement. It's not. They're not even remotely similar. Mastodon has like separate sub servers that get maintained independently, and then you create threads within them. That's not even MySpace. Yeah, sure. Spiritually gay. Yeah, because I'm spiritually gay, of course. Yeah. My free Substack, guys. It's such a good deal. Look, there's even one post already that says coming soon. Look at that. Get it? Coming, like with my dick and balls. Really, though, in all seriousness, a lot of people are going to move back to Tumblr, to Substack. People are going to pay more attention to a bunch of other apps. I do want to be clear, though. You know, I'm gonna try to use this to sort of highlight a real problem. It's that the death of Twitter. You know, Twitter sucks. Don't get me wrong, but the death of Twitter is actually a huge problem for a very specific group of people: sex workers and not safe for work artists. There's no equivalent to Twitter when it comes to people who produce pornography of any kind to sort of freely advertise their service. PayPal, there are laws like PayPal will screw you over. Patreon will screw you over. Tumblr doesn't allow pornography. Like you like go through like every other way you can advertise yourself. Twitter's it, you know. You ever wonder why there are so many sex workers in the online left on Twitter? That's the reason why. It's because sex workers are very disproportionately left-leaning. Anyone who draws pornography, whatever, for a variety of reasons. And Twitter is the space. Reddit's not really the same. Reddit doesn't lend itself to socialization the way that Twitter does. It's not exactly the same. The point is, I just want to make it clear, you know, it's like, you know how we talk about how England's a shitty country, and it is. Did you know there are good people in England? You know, people make jokes. Oh, what if England sank into the sea? Ah, how funny. And it is. But if you really think about it, if you actually take a moment and reflect on this, if England sank into the sea, it would actually be really sad. I have friends in England. I have an ex in England. I have people I care about in England. And I think, you know, once you cut through the jokes, and you would have to, because there'd be a lot of funerals, you'd have to recognize, even if England sank into the ocean, you'd still lose a lot of good shit, wouldn't you? Yeah. There really isn't an equivalent to Twitter. It's practically a public service. It's deeply unfortunate, the loss of the website. Hellish of a website as it is. You know, I mostly feel bad for people who eke out a living on Twitter. For me, you know, Twitter is a component of my business. I make money and communicate with others. It's, you know, producing content. It's part of what I do. Obviously, I'll be fine without Twitter. But there are people whose livelihoods rely on Twitter. There are thousands, tens, possibly, and I'm being serious here, hundreds of thousands of people who rely on Twitter, artists, sex workers, lots of people. Journalists, yes, independent journalists. Twitter is a remarkable platform because with the same application, with no changes, you can switch between interacting with your friends and with politicians. There's really not anything else like that. It serves, very well as a sort of interpersonal social platform, and as a place to generate, interest for any business that you're getting into, any work that you want to promote. I have a lot of artist friends who use Twitter. There are a lot of people who I am going to lose track of if we lose Twitter. It's just not possible to perfectly replicate these social spaces and all of the functions they serve on another site. And I want you all to remember everything that we're going to lose, every interaction, every friend, every business, all of it. One man, one guy. It took one guy, one person who, because of our ridiculously inequitable economic systems, was allowed to accumulate enough wealth to single-handedly control, again, what might as well be a public utility, and destroy it. Just that's it. You can simply buy things and then remove them. One guy. If Twitter actually does go down, and even if it does, it might be brought back up, all this anxiety still, it's a real problem. And I actually, come to think of it, I don't know if I can think of another example of something like this much of a social space being destroyed by one human, like one single person. I can't actually. You would have to think of, like, I don't know, Roman emperors or something, in terms of like how many interpersonal interactions are being sort of like eliminated. There might not even be a comparison. I don't know. It might actually be incomparable in the sense that, like, this is a kind of like, yeah, it's like, right, it's like a Library of Alexandria thing, right? Like, in terms of like knowledge and sociability and just generally speaking, like access to things. It might actually be the single largest. Yeah, it might actually be. It might truly be incomparable. Yeah, I don't even know how I would compare that. I don't know what metric I would use for that. Either way, maybe it doesn't all fall apart, or maybe it does for a bit, but then gets brought back up. It's an absolute shit show. Again, if ever there was a lesson to be taken from this, remember, we do not live in a meritocracy. That is the only real lesson that should be taken from this. We do not live in a meritocracy. Elon Musk is not just incompetent, he is uniquely incompetent. This is a regular person. Like, a regular person would be smart enough to sort of work to get the vibes of Twitter before attempting to make changes. That's like a very normal, like 100 IQ, like, first step, Let me try to figure out, like, what's going on, kind of. But no, you have to be exceptional in your incompetence in order to take things in this direction. Oh, and I bet you anything that Elon is going to run with this, and he's going to convince a lot of people this is actually the engineer's fault. He was like, yeah, either Elon was epically trolling and he dabs, or like the workers all failed him. The woke Twitter workers became obstinate. And yeah, he'll call them pedos, yeah. Became obstinate and unworkable, and they were too incompetent, and he only had the poor misfortune of showing up at the last second of Twitter, and actually, he should be suing people, because Twitter was weeks away from dying when he acquired it. Why did he pay $44 billion, huh? He should be suing people. I bet you that's what he's going to go for. You need to use TikTok more if Twitter's going down. Honestly, Twitter going down probably going to mean I have a lot more free time day to day. It might be good for me. Would you feel the same way if it was Facebook? Yes. I do think that Facebook is more socially harmful than Twitter by a mile, but yeah. It's important to remember the human element here. As much harm is done through these platforms and as political as they get, remember that Facebook represents interpersonal relationships that number in the billions. People knowing other people, being friends, so on and so forth, it's so much. I don't know what the term for it would be. Emotional capital, human capital, maybe. Yeah, it's so much human capital to be lost to one person's incompetence. If social media fell apart, just because of, you know, the complexities of the system or legislation or something like that. You know, that's complications here. But this is very uncomplicated. This is just Elon Musk being really dumb. What if this was his plan all along? It wasn't. Never ascribe stuff like that to people like Elon. He doesn't plan this. He's dumb. He just floats along on his incredible wealth and his reputation. There is nothing beyond that. Twitter alternatives, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Counter Social. Yeah, if Twitter really does go down, I'm probably going to make more use of the YouTube community post, which is where a text post gets put out there like it's a video, but you can like read it. I want to be clear, by the way. I want to speak very briefly about like me for a second. My favorite subject. I feel when I got that incredibly unjust, objectively, factually incorrect set of channel strikes, you know, it sort of reminded me of the frailty of what I do here, you know. I don't really think it's comparable, like this social media craze now. I don't think it's comparable to anything humans have been able to do before in terms of the fragility of our platform, you know. And that's a little frightening for as someone who, you know, pays the IRS from that platform that is fragile. It's you know, it's a little bit makes me worry about the stability of all this. So I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to say it broadly, okay? I think we need to be better content consumers. So much of the content that we consume is out of convenience. What do I watch? What do I listen to? Who do I care for? Well, what's on YouTube? You know, what can I access with 2 clicks? Do I have to go through a Patreon feed and then find that and then click it, you know? Does it take me longer to do so? I think in an era of increasing instability, maybe this will sound shameless, I think that all of us, as viewers of content, which I am when I'm not streaming, need to be more faithful to the things we really think are worthwhile. If Twitter goes down and there were Twitter independent journalists, artists, people we really cared about, I think we should make an effort to find them elsewhere. We should make an effort. We shouldn't let them vanish like candle flames in the wind, you know. We should make an effort to maintain that, because it's better for us to have that greater sense of permanence, and it's better for them, obviously. I hope that a lot of you would feel that way about me, regardless of wherever I end up. Not all of you will. I know a lot of you will, though, and that means a lot to me. But I want to do that for other people too, just day to day, like not even as like a big streamer thing, you know. There are YouTubers I really like. There are, you know, Twitter accounts that produce a variety of content that I really like. And I want to believe that I like them for reasons deeper than because they're there. You know what I mean? Like, I want to believe that it means more to me than that. Like, it's not just, well, they were there and that was it. This is one of the reasons why I like Substack. It's because it uses an email list. Email lists are like the oldest online maintain a community system, and they're also basically the most resilient, for obvious reasons, you know, because it just sends out an email. It doesn't rely on you having an account on the website that you know, the content is produced from. Stuff like that just makes me, I don't know. Have you ever forgotten about a content creator and then you rediscovered them after a while? And then things are a little different, but you wonder why you ever stopped watching them, you know? Like, wow, I really liked this and I still do. I don't know. It's just a little bit sad. I've had that happen to me plenty of times, you know? Obviously, I'm self-interested here because as a content creator, your loyalty is literally how I pay my rent, but I don't know. There's just something really existentially weird about the idea of Twitter going down. What it means to have like all that social capital vanish, all the relationships and all of the potential future relationships and knowledge and so on. There are a lot of artists that I follow. Not all of them are not all of them are furry porn artists too, if you can believe it. Some of them do art that isn't that. And like a lot of those people, hundreds of thousands of followers, they're going to lose like a lot. Twitter is where they get their commissions, you know? And like they might be behind on rent, or they might really need to fill up commission slots this month and they might lose that. They might have commissions they're waiting to fill, and then they'll wake up one day to find out not only that Twitter doesn't exist, but they have no way to request payment from the people that they've already done the drawing for if they do a half and half or pay me later system, which you shouldn't as an artist, but Yeah. You get where I'm coming from, right? I'm not trying to. I know it's like Twitter's dying. It's funny, haha. And I mean, it is. It's just, yeah. I hope that Twitter stays. Even if Twitter stays at this point, Elon Musk's incompetence, like the point has been made. I hope that it does. Or if it goes down, I hope that it gets brought back up. I think maybe it will, Maybe somebody will buy it off Elon for $5. I don't know. I don't know. What does it say about me if there's an artist who I really like, an artist I like so much that I met them at Anime Expo back in 2017, 18, and 19 and paid them money for actual prints that I still have physically in my house, who I follow on Twitter, who, if Twitter went away, I would not be able to remember their handle and I would never see their art again. What does that say about me? Nothing? Maybe it says nothing. I don't know. Reading a little too much into it. No, I'm not being self-deprecatory. I just I have a lot of artist friends. Not to mention, it's just look, I'll put it this way, okay? Right now you can go to every lefty online to see people jeering about Elon Musk fucking up Twitter. Here's one place you can come to for existential depression, okay? There we go. I'm counterbalancing. Yeah. Oh my god. I got surprised by cinnamon in my coffee, the thing that I put in every cup of coffee I ever make at home for years. Sorry. Jesus.